Hi, and thank you so much for joining us again for this month's episode of Clubcast. I am Marissa Gleockler, the Vice President of Communications for Boys and Girls Clubs of St. Lucie County, and today I am joined by Chief Rich Del Toro. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to pick your brain a little bit about the safety in our clubs and everything that we've got going on because it's a really hot topic for our national organization as well as our local clubs. But before we do that, I kind of want to ask how you initially got involved with Boys and Girls Clubs. You're a board member. Tell me all about that.
So I've always been involved in the community and involved in different events, and I had an opportunity one year to go to a steak event for Boys and Girls Club, which at the time was like their signature fundraising event. And that was at Treasure Coast Lexus, and I got to meet Will Armstead, who is the CEO now, but he was actually our board president at the time. And so we had some conversations, and I met some other board members, Nate Spera, Charles Cuomo, people who I consider Hall of Fame board members. They've just done so much for this organization. And yeah, just the opportunity was there. I was in a position in my career where I was assistant chief at the time, and I wanted to be more involved in the community. And I also wanted to develop my daughter's charity foundation that they had started with their friends. So I wanted to learn more about nonprofits, and it was just an excellent opportunity. The timing and opportunity was there, and yeah, the rest is history. It's been a great 8 years since that time.
And obviously so much has happened in those 8 years. I've only been with the organization a portion of that time, but we hear so much about how we've grown, and obviously the city's growing so much. How have you seen that growth?
So when I first got on the board, there was a different CEO in charge, and we were a very small club, about $1.5 million in total revenue. The community was much smaller at the time as well. So we had to go through a transition of a different CEO, and that's when Will stepped in as the acting CEO, and then he became the full-time CEO since that time. And you know, I always say that Will's the best investment Boys and Girls Club of St. Lucie County has ever made. He has just done such a great job. He's such a passion for the kids, such a passion for the community, good business sense, because this is a business. I mean, and he had a good business plan to grow it. You know, and since that time, we've grown to a $10 million total revenue club. And that means we're serving more kids. That means we're growing with the community. As you mentioned, the community's growing. You know, Port St. Lucie, we're the 6th largest city now in the state of Florida with 240,000 residents. A lot of people don't realize that because we still have that small hometown feel. But we're only 15,000 people behind St. Petersburg for number 5 in the state.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, and so we're growing. It's going to be, you know, total build out of about 400,000 residents when it's all said and done. The county is expected to be over 600,000 during that time. So there's a lot of opportunities to serve more kids in the future. And I think we have a great plan in place, especially with our partnership with the school district, where we have clubs on site at the schools where we're able to provide that club opportunity for more kids.
Yeah, you hit on so many important things. The partnerships that we have with all law enforcement agencies in our county as well as the schools, it really gives us a foundation to build on. And one of our biggest priorities is to provide our kids with safe spaces. And obviously you work very closely with the safety of our community, the safety of our youth. How do you feel like us providing safe spaces for youth impacts their development and their time?
Well, I think it's everything. You know, so many parents now are both working, so they need a place for their kids to go where it is safe. And we want to provide our kids and nationally Boys and Girls Club with that world-class club experience. And part of that is making sure we have a safe environment for our kids, because if you don't trust where your kids are going, you're not going to make the investment to put them there. So it's all about that partnership we have with our parents, making sure it is a safe environment. It's a place where the kids feel safe going, because you know there's a lot of different challenges for kids nowadays that are different from when you and I grew up. I mean, now with social media, with bullying, with different things like that. So making sure they know there's a safe place to go, they trust us, we're legitimate. We're a legitimate organization providing that world-class club experience where the kids can go get their homework done, get the mentoring they need to be successful young adults. I mean, we take these kids, I don't want to say as babies, but as you know, kids that are in grammar school all the way up through high school, and just to see that growth at Youth of the Year and different things like that. And it's all because of the result we've provided that environment for them. And it's a challenge. I mean, we are a decentralized organization, as we were talking before. A lot of cities or communities have one clubhouse. We have close to 20 locations throughout the community because
Yeah.
it's so big.
Yeah.
And we have so many needs that we're able to have them here at the schools, and it just provides us that opportunity to provide services to more kids. But safety is priority one, and I think it goes hand in hand with how we've been successful.
And you mentioned mentorship a little bit, and that's, I think, a lot of people don't lump that in with safety because it's a thing of its own, but it is important to have safe mentors in these environments. Talk to me a little bit about that and how you've seen us work towards having safe people in our clubs mentoring our kids.
So our staff, and when I say staff at Boys and Girls Club, and I don't mean the board, I mean our full-time staff that works at the clubs, even the part-timers that provide these services to the kids, they are all vetted out with background checks, making sure that they are the right fit for the organization. So again, it goes back to that safety theme. We don't leave any boxes unchecked because when we're dealing with kids, it's a big deal. We cannot have any missed, not to talk baseball, but missed ground balls. You know what I mean? So that's low-hanging fruit, and our HR department here at BGC does a great job making sure that we vet out all of our employees, making sure they're going to be the right fit for our kids to meet our mission. And they are mentors. Our kids look up to these. It's just like, it's no different than being at school and you just feel safe with that teacher or with that school staff member or that school resource officer. You may not know it, but you're making a big impact because you're spending more time with these kids and sometimes their parents get to see them.
Yeah,
when they go home,
definitely.
They may get an hour with their parents in the morning and at night, where we're spending close to 3 hours a day, and then they're spending 8 hours at school. So I mean, we're having a bigger impact than we think on these kids, and making sure that it's a safe environment and that the employees are vetted the right way, I think goes a long way for the parents to have that trust with us.
And how do you see us providing youth with safe places affecting the safety of our entire community and all of St. Lucie County?
Oh, that's huge. I think keeping kids off street is a big priority for law enforcement. We want to make sure they're doing activities, because if not, human nature is you want to be a part of something. So if they're part of the clubs, they feel that value, they feel that good self-esteem, they're doing something productive, they're not out on the streets getting involved with gangs or other opportunities for crime, because crime's all about opportunities. And so we're making sure these kids are in a safe environment, they're being supervised the right way, they're growing, they're not out there, falling into trouble, getting involved with drugs, with alcohol. God forbid, gang violence, things like that. So I think it's had a big impact in our community and why we've been so safe, especially in the city of Port St. Lucie.
Yeah, and I don't know how heavily you're involved in the assessments that we do in our clubs. We do an annual safety assessment with our national organization, Boys and Girls Clubs of America, but we also do a youth outcomes report. And in that, this year, I think we found something like 98% of our teens they avoid risky behaviors, the drinking, the smoking, the things that you're talking about. And I think that that's highly because they have those safe places to go.
Absolutely, and those values and those behaviors are being reinforced by our staff, leading our kids away from those type of risky behaviors. So again, it all goes hand in hand, but I think the outcomes are much better for us. The city of Port St. Lucie, statistically, is the safest large city in the state of Florida, with populations over 100,000 residents. We've had the lowest crime rate for 13 straight years.
Wow.
And Port St. Lucie, when I started 25 years ago, was a much more bedroom retirement community. We're a much younger community now. We have much younger families here. It's a much more diverse community. So having an organization like Boys and Girls Club to really help us help these kids and provide an environment for them to keep them off the streets just is a great partnership for the police department.
Yeah. And we're working really hard. It's that time of year where that safety assessment is going on, and we've really, every year, we really take a step back and evaluate how we're doing and how we can improve. I know we're working on increased signage. We're really working on our sign in, sign out, just anything we can do to make the kids and more importantly, really the families feel safe sending their kids to our clubs.
It's no different than when the kids go to school. We deal with school threats a lot. And with social media now being a force multiplier with information getting out, a lot of it's not legitimate information. But we encourage people, when they see something, say something. So when they see a threat or they hear about a threat, it spreads pretty fast, and we have to make sure we respond to that. And so the parents want to know, should I send my kid to school today? It's no different than if we have a threat at the clubs or if something's happened at the clubs.
Yeah.
It's really important to get in front of it, make sure that we get the messaging out, but also making sure that Our clubs are safe. We harden the target. Access to our clubs is not too loose. It was like checking in here at the school district.
Yeah.
I'm in full uniform, chief of police. I got to give my ID to the lady at the counter before I can get behind the doors.
Yep.
That's a great measure of safety, and I think we do that very well at our clubs. Not to give all our secrets away.
Yeah.
But our clubs are very safe, and we take safety very important. And we also are very transparent when we have an incident that happens at the clubs. We communicate that to the parents just to make sure they know what's going on.
Sure.
We've resolved it. And we learn from it and move forward.
Yeah, and it's kind of like you said, the transparency key I think is important because things happen, and we definitely want to make sure that if something happens, the parents know about it and everybody's aware, everybody in the organization's aware,
Sure.
so that we can just continually improve.
Well, trust takes years to build, seconds to lose. And the minute we lose that trust, we're going to lose our legitimacy, and that's just not going to be good for our business and serving kids. And, parents are very protective of their children, and they want to know they're going to a safe environment. And again, it's just part of that world-class club experience. We got to check all the boxes, make sure we're doing that. And I think Boys and Girls Club, the national organization, provides us with a good blueprint to follow.
Yeah.
And then Will and his staff, and I have just recently joined the safety committee with Deputy Chief Rob Rydell from Fort Pierce Police Department. And so I think we're going to see some good improvements there, and I'm looking forward to getting in the weeds a little bit and seeing what we can do to make improvements.
I'm glad you brought up the safety committee because I went into Will's office the other day. I had just something small I needed, and they were all meeting in there, and I was like, oh my goodness, what is happening? This is a pretty big committee.
It's a huge committee. It's a huge responsibility. And, as a board, when I first got on, talk about the differences. When I first got on the board, we were very heavily involved in fundraising. And we really had to make a shift, and Will's done a great job of getting the board now to focus more on governance and getting involved with these committees, whether it's the finance committee, board governance committee, safety committee, and making sure these boards are filled, and that's what we're putting our time and talents towards now.
We take part alongside our national organization in things like youth advocacy days, and we send our executive staff and teens as well up to DC and Tallahassee to sort of advocate for issues like this, because more and more we're realizing that teens feel very passionately about certain causes. One being that they're hoping for more positive engagement with law enforcement.
Sure.
So that's something we talk about a lot, and we try to reinforce that in our programs. And I want to give you a chance to talk about things that, PSLPD might be doing, or, other law enforcement agencies in the area might be doing to reinforce those positive interactions with teens.
Well, I think one of the biggest things we have going for us is because of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas incident, we have a school resource officer in every school. So it's either going to be a St. Lucie County Sheriff's Deputy, Port St. Lucie Police Officer, or Fort Pierce Police Officer. And that gives us an opportunity to interact with our teens all the time in a much different way.
Yeah.
And so we're very involved in the community. I think they see us in a positive light. One of the things we've done also, Port St. Lucie Police Department was the only agency in the state of Florida to receive a grant regarding teen driving. And what we do is we teach all high school kids throughout the county on how to interact with law enforcement officers during a traffic stop. So when you're 16 years old and you get your license, you're dealing with enough issues to begin with. It's very nerve-wracking. Getting pulled over by the police possibly is another thing that's going to just heighten your anxiety. And so what we do is we teach them in a very friendly, almost comical way what to expect during a traffic stop, because it's not everything you see on TV. We're not here to harm you. We're not here to, and some of these kids, where they come from, they haven't had the best interactions with law enforcement. So it's a way for us to kind of bridge that gap communication-wise and make sure they understand that bottom line is we're here to help them every single day. One of the things that frustrates me sometimes is if I walk through a store or a restaurant, I'll hear a parent say, you better be good or you're going to get arrested by that officer. And that frustrates me because it puts me in a bad light. I'm not here to be the disciplinarian parent. We're here to protect, and if there's an issue, I want your child to come to me and share with me any issues that are going on. So that kind of puts a little bit of a barrier up. And I think the more interactions we have with kids, especially at a young age, we can build that trust, and they can base their decision whether or not they trust us on their own experiences with us. So.
And I know different people, board members, representatives of these agencies throughout the county have come into our clubs to talk to our teens
Sure.
about career opportunities, because I think also if you kind of open their eyes to be like, hey, this could be you, you know, you
100%.
could work for one of these agencies one day. And I know that has really opened their eyes to different career paths and maybe seeing themselves in those types of roles.
Sure. I mean, you know, if you treat a person as they are, they're going to remain as they are. If you treat them as what they can become, they're going to become what they should become. And, you know, if we can inspire a child to, you know, I was inspired when my father was a police officer, my uncle's a police officer. I saw them in uniforms every day, and it's just something I saw them take a lot of pride in. So if I can be an example like that for another kid one day and mentor them, reach out to them, talk to them, and be there for them as a kind of a guiding light if that's what they want to go do. You know, it's hard to recruit police officers nowadays. It's been painted in a negative light nationwide, not so much locally. Locally, we get a lot of support from our community.
Yeah.
I like to think that's a reflection of the type of service we're providing to our community in a positive way. But we have to work every single day to try to recruit people into this profession, and what better way to start with the kids and show them that they can. Everyone thinks that law enforcement's all about catching bad guys. That's really not what we do. What we do is we exist to help people and help them solve their problems. And I think you can do that in any job. But every single day that we walk out our doors at the police department, we have a chance to impact people in a positive way. And you never know, that one thing you might do for somebody can just change their entire life. You may never know. You know, they may never come back and thank you, but what you're doing is helping them overcome challenges, which we all deal with, and our kids especially are dealing with a lot of challenges in society. Like we mentioned before, the bullying, just the stress of social media. You know, when we were younger, we went home from school, we were done. It's 24/7 now. They're interacting with these kids. So, you know, we need to be there for them. We need to make sure that we're making a positive impact on them every single day.
And because we're talking about programs that reinforce that positive engagement, our teens, we're trying to work it in all of our programs. Our teens, workforce readiness teens, just did projects where they built park benches that went to local veterans nursing homes. Now they're building dog houses. And what I hear is that they just built your canine unit, a dog house.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see the finished product. I was able to put the color selections in for this. So I know that they built one for the sheriff's office already. And we are so excited. I haven't told our canine unit about this project yet because I want to surprise them at a training day.
Oh, well, hopefully they don't.
Because it'll just make their day.
Hopefully
you know,
they didn't spill the beans.
No, it's okay. It's okay. And they're going to, I think when we show up and surprise them, it's really going to make their day. They're so passionate about being canine handlers and working with their dogs. And I think the kids get a lot of excitement seeing the dogs. And I mean, adults do too. We get requests all the time. So this is just going to be an awesome project to see, and we got a good spot picked out for it at our canine training field. And we're really looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome.
It marries a lot of cool things, and the teens not only have a passion for these projects where they get to be hands-on and build things, but for animals also. We hear all the time from our kids, like, they want to go play with animals and be involved in stuff. So I think it's a good showcase of workforce readiness initiatives and our partnership with Port St. Lucie PD. So I think it's a really cool project.
One of the things I see out of the kids in this generation now is they're very, like you said, they're advocates for change. They're advocates for, you know, wanting better relationships, but they have a very service mentality, and they really love serving their communities and wanting to impact the world and make it a better place. And I think that's something we need to foster and encourage, and let them know that they are doing that. It's pretty cool to see. I've just seen what keeps me involved in Boys and Girls Club, and I've been on the board for 8 years, and a lot of people think, well, you must be burned out. And I don't. I get inspired all the time by these kids. Youth of the Year. If I can ever encourage people to just go to that and see how far these kids have come from start to finish. And they're going to college, and they're going to impact the world. And just hopefully they're going to be taking care of me one day. You know? But that generation. But it's really inspiring, and I think we're getting set up for great things because of what Boys and Girls Club is doing in our community.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit before we came here that Boys and Girls Club is working really hard to partner with a lot of these other nonprofits, so that it's sort of this feeling that supporting Boys and Girls Clubs and being part of Boys and Girls Clubs is really supporting all of these other nonprofits as well, because You shared a stat on our nonprofits in the Treasure Coast.
Yeah.
What was that?
So there's 2,500 nonprofits throughout the Treasure Coast, and everyone is fighting over the same dollars. And the one thing about the Treasure Coast, especially St. Lucie County, it's a very giving community. I don't think people realize when there's a problem, everyone in St. Lucie County steps up to meet that need.
Definitely.
But it's important for these nonprofits to work together. I talked about my daughter's charity earlier. We have Treasure Coast Hope for the Homeless Foundation. We're going to be working with Boys and Girls Club on the food pantry.
Oh, wow,
Because we service low-income homeless families, and what we want to do is be that force multiplier. Everyone working together for the greater good, and that's how you impact the community in a positive way. It's not about a competition. It's really about coming together and using your time, treasure, and talents together to make the biggest impact we can.
Definitely.
The Boys and Girls Club has been that awesome partner, not just with Treasure Coast Hope for the Homeless Foundation, but with other organizations as well. And Will, especially, this is pretty neat stat too, is so many nonprofit CEOs have come out of the Boys and Girls Club.
Oh,
they were
yep.
VPs in different sections,
Yep.
or the COOs, and that's a testament to his leadership and,
Yeah.
and the development and training we have for our staff at Boys and Girls Club, where they've gone on to lead other nonprofits in our community.
Yep.
So we're spreading out, and it just keeps those relationships working so good. And Will,
Yeah.
I know for a fact, whether they've worked at Boys and Girls Club or not, has been just a mentor to other CEOs, because they all see what is going on at Boys and Girls Club. It's very special.
Yeah.
And it's been very successful. Even National Boys and Girls Club has noticed what's going on in St. Lucie County.
Yep.
And they're like, well, come and see. We'll
Yeah.
show you what's going on.
Yeah.
And Will has just been so dynamic. I
Yeah.
just love working with him. Love his energy, his enthusiasm. I think it goes down to the staff. And it's just been that trickles down to our kids. You know? So it's been awesome.
Well, not to brag on Will too much, but he did win that CEO of the Year award recently, so he's all right.
He is a rock star.
Yes,
and
he is.
we are so blessed to have him and the whole staff. I mean, I just love our staff at Boys and Girls Club. I wish I could spend more time with them there every single day, but I just know they're doing such a great job, and they're so passionate about the kids. It's not about the money, it's not about anything, it's really just impacting these kids in a positive way.
Yeah.
And they've just done a great job.
Well, keeping on theme of other nonprofits in the area, you mentioned that you're also on the board for Children's Services Council. So talk to me a little bit about other organizations you're involved in and how that all kind of ties together.
So I'm involved in a lot of different boards. Boys and Girls Club, Treasure Coast Hope for the Homeless Foundation. I was appointed by the governor to the Children's Services Council, which is a big funding partner for Boys and Girls Club. There's no conflict there for me because I don't get paid by Boys and Girls Club, but we make sure that they fund a lot of other different priorities throughout the community. Also involved heavily with the Treasure Coast Chiefs and Sheriffs Association and the 100 Club, which provides assistance to law enforcement officers that are injured or killed in the line of duty. But what happens is when you're involved in the community the way we are, especially at the police department, is your networking expands so much. And when it expands so much and there is a need in the community, you have that vast array of people you can reach out to for help. I've never been shy about asking for money. That's just something I'm good at. You know, I told my wife one time that, you know, I really think I'm good at this fundraising thing. I just go ask people for money and they just give it to me. She goes, well, you know you're wearing a gun and a badge when you do this, right? So I'm like, I never thought about that, but so I got to be careful. But no, they really they want to help. And when they see our board, and I'm not bragging on them, but it's a rock star board in this community with executives through all different types of fields. And I think when people see that legitimacy on a board, they want to support an organization they know is doing the right things. And I think that's what's been so important for Boys and Girls Club and for other organizations as well.
And so looking to the future, we're celebrating our 30th anniversary. It's a big year for us, so we're reflecting on our past and how we've gotten to where we are today. But we're also looking to the future and seeing how we can improve, how we can continue you know, implementing these safety measures in our clubs. What's your hope for our clubs, and what do you hope to see come out of our initiatives over the next 30 years?
Well, it's the same hope I have for the Port St. Lucie Police Department. You know, it is good to reflect on the past, know where you've came from, where you're at presently, and then where we're going in the future. And Boys and Girls Club, it's all about great futures. That is our tagline. And in order to do that, you cannot have an attitude of maintaining. You know, in life, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. As I'm getting older, I have to work out twice as hard now to stay in the same shape that I was in when I was younger. But So it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a strategic business plan, and it's going to take a team to execute that plan at a high level.
Yeah.
And we have to demand that excellence from ourselves first, and then from our team as well. And I think when we do that, we're going to see the outcomes that we all hope for, which is to impact these kids in a positive way, because that is the ultimate vision, is, you know, to raise these kids up to young positive adults that are going to become good members in society, and hopefully give back to the clubs when they're older too, knowing that they had such a positive experience at Boys and Girls Club that they stay involved, and they want to see that investment move forward. So that's what I'm hoping to see. I really am. I think we got the right team in place. I think we got the right business leader in Will Armstead. We got a great board, and I'm excited to see celebrate 30 years.
Yep.
But at the same time, let's take it to the next level. So.
Yep. And as the holidays are approaching, like you said, there's so many other nonprofits in the area, so many places to pour your time, talents, treasures. We're hoping people see us as a source to help all of Treasure Coast or St. Lucie County more so, and all nonprofits in our areas, and just continue those partnerships. We want to continue growing those partnerships and
Absolutely,
strengthening.
it's a way for our kids also to serve more at the holidays as well, and I'm hoping to see that, because so many people are in need now, you know, with inflation and different issues that are going on.
Yeah.
You know, I make good money, and I still at times go, I don't know how people do it in this community. So you know, there's a lot of need out there. I think we got to keep our eyes open for opportunities to keep serving people. I think when you serve people, you know, you're fulfilling your purpose in life. And I said you could do that in any role. It doesn't have to be a police officer, and I think that's what we have to show our kids. And we have some good things coming up. Shop with a Cop. I mean, we're going to be working with the clubs coming up, doing an early shopping trip in November this month. So I'm very excited about that. But the holidays are always a great time, because it's a good time to, you know, reflect on the whole year, but also give back to our community at a high level.
Well, as we're looking to our 30th anniversary as well, you mentioned Steak and Steak. Now we have our new version of the Steak and Steak, our Lexus Great Futures Gala.
It's going to be awesome.
We are very excited, and we have our other board members, our board chair, Leslie Kristoff and Sarah Pride, they're chairing this event, and we have community chairs, Anita and Christy Romano. So we are really excited. We have a lot of exciting things coming up. I know before this we were talking, and I was joking that there's never a down season in Boys and Girls Clubs. There's always something going on. So we're encouraging people to get more involved, learn more. I think that's the big thing, like you said, attend Youth of the Year, attend the gala, and just learn more. Because I think if people learn what we're doing, I think.
Well, I think that's going to be a big part of your job moving forward, in communicating what we're doing each and every single day, because there's good work, good stories every single day happening in the clubs. And I think as people become more aware, they're going to want to be a part of it. But just the growth in this community is going to drive the growth in Boys and Girls Club. People are going to be constantly looking for safe places for their kids to go, places that they can trust. These events are always great because they bring great awareness. We just had a record-setting chili cook-off that was so well attended. I mean, I've been involved in chili cook-offs in the past. This was by far the best one, so hats off to the staff on that. But this gala that's coming up, I'm very excited. And you got two chairs on the board there, Leslie and Sarah, that are rock stars. They're no strangers to putting on big events. They've done Youth of the Year in the past and different things like that. And then Anita and Christy. I mean, come on.
I know. Rock stars.
Yeah, we got a pretty strong team moving forward right now. So I'm looking forward to that event. It's going to be a great night.
Well, we hope to see everybody out at our 30th anniversary Lexus Great Futures Gala. And I want to thank you so much for sitting down with me today and talking through some safety and some things going on in our community as well as our clubs. And if you want to learn anything about anything that we talked about, if you want more information, please head to our website. It's www.bgcofslc.org. And thank you all again for tuning in.